then you can also take a mixture of alcohol and water and spray your carving before you carve, and it softens it a little bit. That's what it is. Sometimes you just some of the basswood you get is not as easy to carve or whatever. This one is about mediocre. I have had pieces of basswood that carve much better than this stuff I have here, but that's just a part of it. Because I noticed that some areas that I carve on are, carved much better than other areas. So sometimes it's just the wood, sometimes, but you can mix a mixture of 50% alcohol and 50% water, and you can do that. Okay, we're slowly bringing this head down, and we're going to continue to do that. So but for some reason, a lot of basswood, some of it is southern basswood. The best basswood, I think, is from Heineke, and did I say Heineke? Yeah, maybe it is our Hinkle basswood. They use Minnesota basswood, and I find that the northern basswoods are much better than the southern basswoods. I've had some real issues with southern basswood that I bought from people that carvers from different areas we've had some issues with them. I'm not saying one is superior to the other. I'm just saying that it just seems like most of the basswood that I get from the northern, like Minnesota and those places, are good basswood, are very good basswood, and they cut very smoothly. I noticed that this one here, it just has a tendency to, I'm having to struggle a little bit more with this wood here than some other ones. But that's normal. I understand that. I'm not trying to, but that's why I try to stay with Heineke. This is not from him. This is from someone else that gave me some. So, and I have bought from different dealers, and I just find that northern basswood is much better. Okay, now we have brought this down here, and let me go ahead and just the hat here, and let's kind of come here as the hat is. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and cut and bring the head down a little bit too. But you want to be very careful in these areas as you do this, because you want to but it's funny, I had a man called me and asked, he's from the UK, and he was using lime wood. Now, I have never used lime wood, but I understand that it is much harder than basswood, and I had suggested the 50-50 solution for him to use to try to see if he couldn't make it a little bit better. Okay, now do you see the head beginning to take shape right here? There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead, and what we're going to do with these legs, and before I begin to bring the body down, because as I've told you, we need to leave an area where like for instance, like in here, we need to leave an area where the arms are going to go, and we want to leave that flat, okay? And if we have to carve it down just a little bit, we will. But in this area right in here, we want to be sure not to make too much there. Okay. Now, as we look at the body a little bit, okay, we're going to start bringing it down a little bit, okay? On both sides. We're going to start bringing the body itself, because he's way too wide and he's way too flat. So we want to start shaping it, okay? All right. And as I've told you here, what we're going to do, we're going to cut around this here and then start removing this. This is all to come down. This is all in an area. It's all got to come down. And then we do our, which will cause us to have to, of course, bring the head down and everything like that, in other words. All right. And then we come back here and we start bringing this down. Okay. Now, once again, be careful of these areas in here. We want to make sure that we don't get over too far into this area here until we get our arms that way. Okay? Now, one of the things I want to show you is this little jacket here goes all the way down here, and it also comes down here, okay? So this jacket is going to extend out. So what we want to do from this point is we want to take the legs and we want that jacket to extend out. So we want to bring these legs down a little bit, okay? In other words, away from the jacket so it will stick out. Because what happens is when you get these legs like this, then you sort of bring them together on each side, and you have your figure, you have your piece. So we start taking parts of our leg down here. You see what I'm talking about? This jacket that he's wearing is going to extend over the leg a little bit. So we bring the leg down, just like this. All right? And we're going to do it over here too. We're going to take this and we're going to extend the here. You want to be very careful in here, because so you just want to take a little bit. See how much I'm taking off? I'm not taking off a tremendous amount at one time. I slowly take that wood off there because I don't want to try to take too much off at one time. A lot of people feel they have to really get after it, you know, and they really take a whole lot of wood off at one time. And that's where you get cut a lot of times, because you are trying to do something because these legs are underneath the coat. So we want to be careful in these areas. Okay, see that? See, the coat begins to then show up underneath here. So we keep bringing this down here, and when we get it down far enough, where this is sticking out enough, then we start bringing the legs more together and more okay. Yeah, this basswood is a little tough. It just is. Or sometimes I get some that is a dream. But that's, you know, a lot of it is how much water. I understand a basswood tree really has to have a lot of water, and sometimes that's why southern basswood is not as good as northern basswood, because they have too much heat. Now, I may be wrong on that, but I think that's probably has a lot to do with it in such a way. Yeah, you see what we're doing here? You see the coat here? The coat is now starting to come up underneath here. And that coat, I'm sorry, where's my pencil? That coat will come like this. See, it'll come up from here. And see how it comes up back here? Okay. Well, it's going to come up also here. So we have to remove some of it in here. And we'll begin to move. And see, slowly but surely we'll start bringing the legs down where we thin them off just as well. See? Just like that. A lot of people ask me, they say, well, why do you keep saying, do you see this? Well, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to let you see how this all comes together. Because a lot of people don't see it. See how when I first started out, you didn't see the legs that did you? No. But now you're starting to see how that all comes together and how that begins to take shape and form. It's like when I was teaching how to turn a head. I was teaching people how to take a head and turn it the other way. It's kind of hard to understand how to turn a head on a carving until you do it a few times. And they say, oh, okay, I see how that works. And then, you know, then you see it. And you understand it. Once you learn it, then you have no problem seeing it again. But sometimes it's just that people have a hard time seeing things, and I do too. I certainly don't see everything the way I wish I could see it. There's a lot of people that can see things, see stuff in wood that I can't see. So, okay. Well, I think we're going to quit right here. And we want to go ahead and take this in here. Take that and come here. And of course the legs are way too big. And they're going to have to come down a lot. But we bring the different portions of the body as we bring this portion down. And now the legs, as you can see, are really taking shape. The head is beginning to take shape. The hat will begin to take shape. And the body will begin to take shape. And as we do that, we'll begin to see the figure himself come out of there. And what happens and stuff. So this is our attempt, and first attempt at doing this. And so I'm going to go ahead and end this video for now, letting you get a general idea of what's happening. And as we all know, this is all going to have to come down before we make the stuff. And we'll continue with it, but you've kind of learned now, for those of you who have not done this, you learn how to, when someone's walking, how to make the legs one to stick out from the other, such a way. Okay? All right. Well, God bless you now.